So, um, I'm excited actually. um,
Yeah.
so my name's Johnell, Designated Report. I also run the Designated Report Behind the Lens page on Instagram. Um, and really, this is my first interview with really the intent of bringing to light the artists, the photographers, the videographers who create the media that we consume. Um, we were talking the other day briefly, and I told you I really don't think people understand the amount of work, the amount of time, like what actually goes into whether it's a TV broadcast, pictures on Instagram, pictures in a magazine. Like there's just a lot that goes into it. So I would love to introduce my first guest, Scott Boldt. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm obviously a photographer. I live in Oregon. I go to the University of Oregon.
Okay.
I'm a geography major. Yeah, I mean, that kind of sums me up in a nutshell.
Are you born and raised in Oregon?
I was not born here. I was born in Bolivia in South America.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So when did you make the trek up here?
I think I was like 3 months old.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. My parents taught at a boarding school down there, so they had me down there, and then they decided they wanted to raise their family in the States, so they moved back.
Gotcha.
But I've been in Oregon ever since. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's awesome. So before we really dive into things, first and foremost, how are you doing with everything, with the pandemic? I know tensions are high with everything else that's going on in the world socially, and you've been definitely outspoken on your social media about that.
Yeah.
How are you? Like, how are you feeling with everything going on?
Yeah, I think I'm doing good. I would be lying if I said it was easy or, just another day or time or whatever. But a lot's changed, but it's changed for everyone. So
yeah,
a lot of it's out of my control. So I try not to overthink it too much, but yeah, I'm just trying to do what I can.
Absolutely. It's been tough. I mean, even talking to some of my friends, people just overall, I feel like people are just tired, of everything that's going on. And like you said, it's out of their control. So we're just kind of all trying to maneuver through it the best we can, without really knowing how to, move forward. So
yeah,
we'll get there. It'll take some time, but we'll come out on the other end better off, I think.
Yeah, I think tired is a good way to put it, because I definitely feel that. But I try to keep a good perspective. Like, I look back in history at so many of the other, worldwide struggles of a pandemic or a war or something. And, we've been in this for 3 months now.
Yep.
And other people were way worse for, years on end. So I'm just like, all right, if they can do it for years on end, what is 3 months? What's even a year,
That's actually a really good way of thinking about it. That you're absolutely right. So we'll get there. I have faith. We'll band together. We'll get there. So how'd you get into photography? You said that you're in school right now, but you're not in school for photography. So how did this come about?
Yeah, that actually surprises most people. Kind of surprises me, if I'm being honest. But so I grew up around photography. My mom had a film camera when I was little, and she would always take it on whatever hikes we went on or family get-togethers and whatnot.
Yep.
So I was always around it. I didn't get to use it that much, but when I was middle school, high school age, I got my first camera, and it was a hobby.
Yep.
It wasn't anything serious. And then I've always been like obsessed with sports. Played as much as I could growing up, but it wasn't until last school year when I finally put two and two together that I could photograph sports.
Yeah.
I don't know what was wrong with me, but it was like two of my favorite things. Never once thought to put them together. But yeah, so I started taking photos from the student section at the Oregon games. And this year I got an internship with a website that covers the Ducks. Gotcha. So I don't work for the athletic department yet. Hoping maybe next year get that internship. But yeah, so I've only been doing sports photography for a year.
That's crazy. I definitely would have thought, just looking through your social media, your Instagram, I would have thought you've been taking pictures for, like, to me, you're a professional photographer. I feel like you would have been taking pictures for, 4, 5, 6 years at this point. But to hear it's
Thank you.
Like, crazy.
Yeah, I know my way around a camera, so the transition wasn't all brand new. But once I finally started taking photos of sport, it just clicked. It was like, this is it. This is my passion and my joy, and like everything made sense at that point.
That's freaking awesome. Wow. I wasn't expecting that. I know you said just yesterday you were doing a shoot. What type of shoot was that? I know we don't have any live sports right now or anything,
right?
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I was just taking my friend's grad photos.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
I gotta get out there and photograph something.
Yeah, the skill is sharp. You gotta make sure you're fine tuning at all times.
Yeah, and, portrait photography and stuff like that, grad photos, senior photos, it's not my forte, but I still like to get out there, and especially when it's my friends, and help them out and create memories for them and stuff. So
for sure. Are you when you get together with friends and family, are you the designated photographer?
Unfortunately, I guess. I am. It's kind of a love-hate relationship I have with it, because I love being able to do that for them, but so many times it's like, oh, well, Scott can do this. Scott can take that. I'm like, sometimes I don't want to be the photographer. You've got a cell phone, you take the photo. But I love it. It's my passion and joy, so I'm glad they realize that. And I, instead of getting annoyed, I just like, all right, they know that I like it, so they're just trying to get me involved in.
Absolutely.
And, they get a good product, so.
Yeah, there you go. So for you, so I know you said that, like portrait photography and things like that, not your forte. Do you prefer like action photography? So like shooting a basketball game or a football game or whatever the case is, action photography is what you would prefer?
Yeah, I would say sports photography is absolutely my number one. And that's no slight on the rest of them. That's what I'm good at. That's what I love. That's my passion. Obviously I still enjoy photography. I love getting out there and stretching my skills and, getting out of my comfort zone and trying new things and, just trying to get better in all aspects. And, portrait photography, it's what I'm least experienced in.
Yeah.
So, I've had lots of time doing sports in the past year and not as many photo shoots.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, no, it really is different, the way you approach it, the way you compose a shot, the way you frame a shot. It's very different,
mm-hmm.
when you if you're doing portraits, they're stationary, they're sitting there, and you can take as many pictures as you want. Whereas, you might only get one shot during a live game, and then the moment's gone. And so
it's kind of so many. I have a lot of photographer friends, and a lot of them specialize in portraits. And I've heard so many times that they love it because they can control every aspect of it, and they get to be in control of everything. And I was putting a lot of thought into that, and I was like, that kind of stresses me out, being in charge of everything, but that's honestly why I really like sports, is because it's challenging. It's not, I don't have control.
Yeah.
For football, I have a little bit more control because I can choose where I am on the sideline, and it's kind of up to me to be in the right spot. But in basketball, I'm on one designated spot for the whole game, and I've just got to capture the moment the best I can.
Yeah.
So I really like that challenge.
Do you prefer shooting football or basketball?
That's tough. That's a tough question. Everyone asks me that, and I don't know how to answer it.
Really?
Yeah, because basketball is my favorite sport. It was the first sport I fell in love with. I played it my whole life. It's definitely my number one sport. But there's just something about photographing football that's just different. I don't know how to explain it, but it's hard to choose, because one's my favorite sport, and then the other one football's just epic.
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
And I think, and there's an added pressure because basketball, I shot, men's and women's basketball at the UVO, and they each had 18 to 20 home games.
Yeah.
Football has 7 at the most, so there's just more pressure.
That makes sense as well.
And every game, every moment means more.
Yeah.
One dunk, one basket in a basketball game, you'll see it again next week.
Yeah.
A crazy touchdown or a pick six in a football game. Shoot, that might be the only one I photograph all year. So
wow.
It's like,
yeah. I never thought of that. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Absolutely right. So, wow. Yeah. So when it comes to, say you're shooting the Ducks, you're shooting a football game. What would you consider a good shot? Like, what goes into composing like the money shot for that for a particular game?
So much of it is in the moment. I don't really think about like the composure just comes naturally. It's not something where I'm like, okay, I have to do this, I have to do that. It's just, I take the photo and then it's a banger.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, that's the one. Yeah. So I think the things I think about is, how do I capture their emotion? I want to tell more than just, oh, that was a cool touchdown, that was a cool dunk. Like, I want to tell the athlete's story. And that's what I'm really passionate about, is kind of showing them as humans and showing their emotion more so than just, he's a good athlete, she's a good athlete, that kind of thing. So
absolutely. And I see that in again in the photos that I've seen of yours, whether it's I remember you posted a couple pictures of Sabrina. It was after she had passed, and there's a picture of her, I think it was pregame, but they're all holding hands, and on the tape on her wrist she had his number or something written. Mm-hmm. You had just a close-up of that, and kind of to your point, I think things like that are so cool. Like, it's something that if I was in the stadium, I wouldn't see. I wouldn't, even on a broadcast, I wouldn't necessarily, I mean, they probably would show that, but I might not necessarily get that in a broadcast. So for you to like capture those type of moments, I think that's so dope because, like you said, it really does tell a story that other people, like the average person wouldn't necessarily get.
Right.
So that's awesome. So I know you shoot women's basketball, men's basketball, football. Do you do any of the other sports?
I would have if they didn't get canceled. Yeah. The website that I work for doesn't cover the other sports as much. It's mainly focused on football, and they cover the men's and women's basketball teams just because they're pretty popular too. But I definitely, I was looking forward to getting out there and photographing the track team and the softball team and the baseball team. And
yeah.
Just really photographing as much as I can, because I'm so blessed to be at a university that has, top quality teams in every sport. And every, like I said before, I love telling the story of the athletes. So I really wanted to get out there and tell the story of different athletes in different sports and just be well-rounded instead of just sticking to basketball and football.
Absolutely.
It looks like that on my feed right now, but
so even with, if you were shooting softball or something, or track, you haven't shot those before, have you?
I did a little bit of softball and baseball last year.
Okay.
I just went with my student ticket and got as close as I could and got some photos. So I have a little bit of experience. I've never shot track before. I don't know where to start with that one.
Yeah.
We didn't have any home meets last year because our stadium was getting renovated.
Gotcha.
So it was supposed to open in time for the Pac-12 championship meet this year, but obviously that's not happening this year, but next year, hopefully.
Yeah. So when you're shooting a football game or basketball game or whatever the case is, what's your typical like pregame routine look like? Are you, I know you said for the football games you can kind of decide where you want to stand or sit. For your photos, basketball, you're kind of isolated to one location or one baseline or the other. So in having that information prior to, what's going through your mind prior to the game? How do you get, how do you determine what shots you want to get or where you want to be in the case of a football game or anything like that? Could you elaborate on that?
Yeah. So before, not like directly before the game, it's not like a pregame thing I do specifically, but between the last game and the current game, I'll like go back and review my shots, and I do this at the same time I'm editing. So it's not like an extra step, but I'm just keeping in mind, hey, I didn't get that one. I need to, make sure I leave more room for their feet to make sure their feet are in the shot, or like, this game I was really slipping up in this one area. I need to make sure to do this or that. So that's an important piece. As far as like on the game day, I typically should just show up at the arena or the stadium in time for warm-ups, which is about an hour before the game. And then I really like shooting the warm-ups because the athletes show a little bit more of their personality, and I'm allowed to get closer to them and take some of the more,
that makes sense,
I don't know, artsy shots, I guess. And during warm-ups, I'm not limited to one location. I'm actually pretty free to go almost wherever I want.
Yep.
Especially for basketball. In football, the whole game, there's a lot of running around. So I'm not stuck in one spot at all the entire game. And as soon as the ball changes possession, I'm running down the sideline to the other end just to, make sure I'm in the right spot. And then if they turn it over, punt or touchdown, whatever, I'm running back down the other side. So there's a lot of moving and running and mobility in football. In basketball, like I said, I'm just stuck on the baseline. But
yeah.
So
for like a football game, do you ever, like you said, a turnover or punt or whatever, you're switching fields, or would you? I don't know. I feel like there's a certain amount of luck that goes into capturing some of these things.
Yeah.
So say you're shooting the offense and they march down the field or whatever the case is, and then there's a turnover and they're coming back the other way. If you're on the other side of the field, theoretically you're missing a shot. Or if you're on the opposite side of the end zone where a touchdown's being scored or something like that, you're missing a shot. So I feel like there's a certain amount of luck that, just right place, right time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very much luck. I just have to flip a coin. So, the instance that comes to mind is in football, if they kick it off and then if the Ducks are on offense and they get it at the 25, right, and they have 75 yards to go, yep. I'm like, do I stay at the one end zone and shoot them for a little bit when they're close to me at the far end zone, or do I just say I'm not going to get many shots until they get closer to the other end zone? I'm risking either way.
Yeah.
To go 3 and out and I miss all the shots I could have gotten and they punt, or they score on the first play on a 70-yard touchdown and I'm on the wrong side of the field. So
absolutely.
I try to mix it up during the game and be like, all right, last 2 possessions I stayed down there, so I'm going to go the other end this time and just hope that it works out. I've had a mixed bag. Some games I missed, 3 touchdowns because I was, I can only be in one spot at a time. But then there's the other games I got every one. So
that makes sense. I mean, I'm definitely not as good as you, but I have younger brothers that played football. So I would take pictures at their games, and I absolutely can feel your pain between you and me, their team wasn't that good. So offensively, they just didn't move the ball. So as much as I would have loved to get pictures of them like coming to the end zone, like scoring a touchdown, it happened so sparingly that I was always behind them. So I definitely get what you're saying, where it's like you got to flip a coin. Like, do I go down to the other side of the field and try to get these shots, or stay over? I get it. I get it for sure.
Yeah.
So you said that you have a lot of photographer friends. Are they people that you've met through this internship? Are they people that you've met via social media? Is there anybody that you look up to or have role models or anything like that when it comes to your photography?
Yeah, most of them, it's kind of a mixed bag. I don't really know. Some of them, I don't remember how I met them. I'm going to the university. A lot of the photographers are students. So did I meet them on social media because everyone kind of follows everyone?
Yeah.
Did I meet them at the game? It's kind of hard to say, yeah, it was definitely this one or the other. But a lot of them, I see them at games, so I've gotten to know them through that. I've gotten to know them over social media, working on different projects outside of sports, that kind of thing. As far as like a role model, one of my biggest role models is Cassie Athena.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't know if you've heard of her. I really like her story and how she's come up from basically nothing and has made a name for herself. And is respected around the industry. And I really like, what really stuck out to me about her was the way she interacts with the players and the athletes.
Yeah.
And she also likes to tell their story more so than, like, she gets good action shots just like any other photographer, but what really stuck out was how she tells their stories and gets to know them and takes photos of them as a person more than them as an athlete.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm trying to do. So, yeah.
So you mentioned Cassie. I mean, I could go to her page or look at her photos, and you know, she has a certain style, the way she shoots, the way she edits. Like you said, it's there's a lot of pictures of like family and, you know, like pre and post game players with their kids, or, you know, a bunch of different things. And then I can go to your page, and to me, at least, you have a very distinct style. Is that on purpose? Is it something that you kind of grew into? Do you have a name for your style, or how did you get that? Like, I see a Scott Boldt picture, or I could see a picture without your tag on it, and I'm like, oh, that's Scott's.
Yeah, I don't have a name for it. It's just kind of developed over time. I just try to be myself, and I shoot the photos in the angles that I see it. And, you know, everyone's unique and everyone has their own style, and everyone's at different stages of developing and discovering their style, and everyone's style is just forever changing.
Yeah.
If anyone is stuck in their style, I feel like they're doing it wrong.
I agree.
Not to bash on people, but you know, it's just an ever changing, ever flowing thing. So I just try to be myself, and, you know, there's times when I find myself thinking too much about what other people are doing or trying to emulate. I really like this style, I need to do that, and then I catch myself and I'm like, I just need to do me and be myself, and everything will fall into place.
Yes.
And I can everyone incorporate different things they see from other photographers and creatives, and that's just how it works, you know.
Yeah.
Everyone does it. But I don't try to copy. You know, I just like being myself, and it works, you know.
I like that. Do you ever look back at some of the pictures you took like last year, and you're like, oh, like that's not a very good picture?
Yeah, all the time. I look back and I'm like, wow, I've grown so much.
It's great.
And it's not that those photos are necessarily bad. You know, they're decent photos, but just the growth that I've seen in myself over the past year, I'm like, sometimes I look back and I'm shocked.
Yeah.
Because when you're growing a little bit, week by week, game by game, it doesn't seem like the growth is really that much, and sometimes you can get discouraged. But then you go back and look at the old photos from the first game of the season, I'm like, oh, wow. The growth is there.
Yeah, it's I've compared it to like losing weight, or like if you're putting on muscle, or, you know, like whatever you want to do with your body. It's just one of those things where, like, day by day you're kind of like, well, I'm not losing anything, like losing any weight, and you start to get discouraged. But then a year down the line, you look at a before and after, and you're like, wow, like I really did make a lot of progress. When you know, in the moment when you're in it, you're like, you know, I'm not getting anywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
well, one thing that I appreciate about photography is there's two aspects to it. You know, one is taking the photo and making sure you got the angle right, because that you can't go back and fix. But then the other part is editing, and both my physically taking of the photograph and also my editing has grown over time, and I'm appreciative that I can go back and re-edit old photos.
Yeah.
And I've been doing that a lot over over quarantine or whatever you want to call it. Because I'm not getting any new content right now, so I'm going back to older games and
That's awesome. Yeah.
taking shots that I thought were not that good, or shots that I just never used, and re-editing them and reposting them, and
Yeah.
yeah.
What do you so the shots that you take, are those what actually are what's being done with them? How are they being used, I guess is my question. Is it just social media? Is it, I know you're working for this you're with this
You
company.
can call it a company, yeah. Yeah, so my boss gets me the media pack to all the games, and then I take photos, and he asked for like 20 to 40 photos from each game or after each game. So I'll select out the 20 to 40 best images and send them off to him, and then the rest of the images are mine to do what I want with. So I don't really have any outlet for them besides social media. So I've been thinking about doing prints, but I'm not sure what the rules are with that, with collegiate athletes and whatnot. I don't know how that works.
Don't get in trouble with the NCAA.
I know. I'm trying not to. Or trying not to get other people in trouble.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing about the photography process?
I think a lot of it is tedious. Obviously, it's like you do at a game. It's a huge high just being at the game, taking the photos. Everything's awesome. And then it's over in 2 hours, 3 hours. And then I go back to the lab and edit for hours on end. And so it's like a high and then a big tedious grind after that.
Yeah.
But I've grown to enjoy the grind. And at first I hated it. I was like, this sucks.
Absolutely.
I did something so much fun. I have to be so much work. But yeah, I'm like, right now, I wish I could just go back and edit all the time. I don't have a good laptop.
Uh-huh.
So I was editing on the Mac. Sorry, words are hard. Computer, the Mac computers at the library at school.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So all the stuff I've been doing, a lot of the stuff I do anyway is just on my phone.
That's cool.
So I edit on my phone, which it works, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
But yeah, that ever since the school got shut down, that's the one thing that I've been missing the most, was getting in the library and being able to use the more high-powered programs than what I have available to me on my phone.
Yeah. And even still, the photos that you've been posting as of late, it's like, it feels like you haven't missed a beat.
Thank you. Yeah, sometimes it's a struggle, because I'll look at a photo, I'm like, this would be perfect for this thing that I want to do.
Yeah.
But I don't have the program, so
Gotcha.
We'll save that one away, and I'll work on it eventually.
Do you have I know you said that you've got all of these pictures like in a vault, and you're starting to re-edit them or touch them up, or do you have a single photo that's your favorite? It could be just because of the way it's framed, it could be who's in it, it could be because of the story that's behind it. Do you have a favorite picture that you've taken?
I don't have one top favorite photo that's the one. It's hard for me, because I'm basically working my dream job right now, because I'm at my dream school, grew up a huge Duck fan. Mm-hmm. Now I'm taking photos of the Duck athletics.
Yeah.
So many pictures are like my top favorite photos. And one thing that I've noticed is I have to when I'm like making my portfolio or deciding what images to post or not post, I'll like images because of the moment that happened or the emotion behind it, which means more to me than maybe an unbiased viewer. So I have to disconnect and be like, is this objectively a good photo, or do I just really, or is it just, you know, is it my friend in the photo and I'm like, cool, that's, you know, that's a cool photo, but you know, but it's I have some that stand out. I got one, so during football, when we Oregon hosted Washington State and we won on a game-winning field goal. Our kicker, after he made the field goal, he got lifted up on everyone's shoulders, and he was, you know, flashing the O, and I got a photo of him with the O, and the stadium light is coming through the O.
Just hearing it sounds crazy.
Yeah, you know, I wish there was an easy way to just pull it up and show you, but throughout the both seasons, you know, basketball season, football season, I have favorite photos. One of my favorite photos is of my guy Brady Breeze in the Rose Bowl when he scored his touchdown, and he you know, he raised his arms to the crowd, and he was right in front of the Wisconsin band, and everyone in the band just looked so dejected, and and you can like see all of their facial reactions to the play and everything. And then so many good basketball photos. You know, it was so cool to be able to cover Sabrina Ionescu this year and be able to photograph her and help tell her story a little bit. I got a bunch of good photos of her. So
yeah, I was gonna ask you. I was gonna save it, but you brought her up. How was it shooting the best women's basketball player in the world?
I don't really have words to describe it. You know, it's incredible to be able to be a part of that and not only just sit there and watch it happen and watch her and see the woman that she is, but also to be able to photograph it and, you know, share the images with her and help her tell her story a little bit. And one memory that sticks out is when they won the Pac-12 championship, and that we cut down the nets and everything, and her whole family's there. Obviously there's a ton of photographers trying to take pictures of her. But she had her family, they didn't really know where to look, and she's like, oh good, Scott's here, and pointed at me, and then I just kind of was the Ionescu family photographer for the evening. But yeah, getting to know, so I haven't really had a conversation with her. You know, she says hi every time she runs across me, but I've gotten to know her brother and her brother Eddie, who's on the men's basketball team at Oregon. And then her older brother Andre and his wife, and I've met the parents, and their family's just amazing. So it's just been a blessing to be around such a quality family and quality people, and that's what really sticks out to me, is just how great of people both the Ionescu family is and the rest of the women on the basketball team as well. They're just being around that team.
Yeah,
sure, they win basketball games, that's cool, you know, everyone likes winning, but it's knowing them as people and seeing how they stand up for what they believe in and aren't afraid to be voices for equality and social justice or whatever the case may be. They're some of my, you know, biggest role models in life.
That's awesome.
Especially Satu and Sabrina. Those two stick out. But yeah, it's more than, to me, it's more than basketball. You know, it's just being around quality people like that and being able to share their story with the world. That's really what sticks out to me, more so than, cool, we won some basketball games.
Yeah, for sure.
Never going to complain about that, but it's just not, the priority is a little different, I guess.
Yeah. Hopefully Sabrina and the family will invite you out to New York, and you could watch her out here in the Garden.
That would be incredible. Who knows what will happen? You know, I never say never, but that's definitely on my bucket list of goals, is to photograph Sabrina again at some point.
Absolutely.
In her career. Yeah, whether it's Team USA or the New York Liberty or wherever, but yeah. It's definitely something I want to continue.
So I know you want to shoot Sabrina again. If you could shoot anybody in any capacity, I know it could be a portrait, it could be a game, it could be whatever. Who would you want to take pictures of right now, if you could?
That's hard. There's so many, you know, it's hard to just pick one. I'd probably have to say I really want to shoot LeBron James before he retires.
Yeah.
Or even after, whatever, you know, doesn't necessarily have to be playing, like he's still going to be around, but
yeah.
That's been one that like really sticks out. I think it's become more prevalent in my mind, knowing that his time's limited.
Yeah.
And you just feel like, oh, he'll be around forever, but that's never the case, you know.
Like he'll be around forever for sure.
Or playing forever, I guess. You know, with him, I wouldn't put it past him, but yeah.
Okay. So what's and we're almost wrapping up here. What's your ultimate goal? Do you want to be a professional photographer? Do you want to do something with your degree once you graduate? A combination of both? What's your ultimate goal in terms of your photography?
Right. I probably won't do much with my degree since I'm a geography major and I'm going into sports photography, but my graduating college is just a goal that I set for myself a long time ago. So I'm just finishing it out and getting my bachelor's degree. But then after that, I love geography, but it's not sports photography. Yeah. So my goal, I really want to be a team photographer, with a professional team, or maybe with a university's athletics department.
Yeah.
And I don't know how long it'll take to get there, but that's the goal. I really want to be with one team specifically and be able to really cover the team and tell the athlete stories, like I said before, you know, many times. That's what really gets it for me.
Yeah.
Obviously, if someone's going to pay me to take photos of sports, you know, I'm going to take the job. But
absolutely.
I was looking at like media outlets, you know, working for this, for instance, like Getty Images.
Yeah.
I would take it because I'm not dumb, but but I don't want to like live in a city and just go to games and then that's it.
Yeah.
I really like the photos. So like the Instagram account Lakers Scene, where they show some behind the scenes stuff, and they show the athletes on the bus and going into the hotel. And the Portland Trail Blazers photographer Bruce Eli does that as well. He does this series, like every road trip he takes photos of the players in the hotel and getting on the plane, and that's really what I want to do. I want to be involved in a team and travel with them and really photograph everything that they do. I mean, not to be too into it, but like be able to tell their story instead of just highlighting a dunk that they had in the game.
Oh, absolutely. And I think, if you were to get hired, or when you get hired with a team, I think it gives you a little more flexibility because you do have that access. Whereas, like you said, if you're hired by Getty or Associated Press or whoever, they're sending you out on an assignment and you'll go and take the pictures, and that'll be great, but you won't necessarily get to know the players. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of it is relationships. Like if a player is comfortable with you, you're going to get a little bit more from them outside of the court or the field or whatever the case is. So you've said it a few times, like you want to tell a story. You don't want it to just be this flat photo that people see and double tap on, and like you want there to be something a little more. And it's like LeBron James's More Than an Athlete campaign and everything that is behind. That's kind of how I view my photography. It's not just sports. It's way more than that. And I know that my platform is not the biggest, but I'm going to use whatever platform I have to speak out on issues and do my part to, show that the athletes are people and help share their story as a person, more so than just, oh, cool, that guy can dunk. I talk down on all the sports photos, but I enjoy that too. But it's just kind of superficial. I guess. I don't even think it's you talking down on them. There is there's something to a nice dunk being easily consumable. You know what I'm saying? Like where you can see a video or a picture of a dunk and you're like, oh, like, wow, LeBron did X, Y, and Z in this game. Like, that's great. But like you said, there's more layers to an athlete than just their athletic ability. So to be able to tap into that and to be able to show it in a photo where there aren't any words, takes a certain amount of skill, I feel like.
Being in that position, I just feel like I'm just doing what I do. I don't see it as like, oh, I'm super skilled at it. I'm just being me. I don't know.
Well, yeah.
But I hear what you're saying, right? It's definitely something that I don't see everyone doing. I don't see everyone doing that as well. So I hear you. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're saying that you don't see it as a skill, and
I feel like maybe that was not the right way to put it. But
no, I mean, I think I understand what you're saying. It really could just be like an innate thing where the way that you see a player is more than a player, more than an athlete. So you'll notice, again, just the Sabrina example I used earlier, you'll see the tape on her wrist. You know that had a good relationship with Kobe and Gianna and the whole nine. And to capture that image, another photographer just might not see it. You know what I'm saying? So maybe I was a little off in saying a skill. It might just be something that you get. So it's not necessarily something that you've got to like work on or like hone or anything like that. It's just like there's more to this player than them running up and down the field or up and down the, and you're able to.
That's just the way I see sports, I guess.
Yeah.
That's just the way I see athletes in general. Is like they're athletes, but that's what they do. I see them as people, where I feel like that's almost missed so much in our world, is what's behind the uniform. What, who are they? That's what I see, and that's what I like to show.
Absolutely.
And and maybe it's a skill, maybe it's not. I'm just showing it how I see it. But
you're humble. You're way too humble.
Maybe that's what it is. I should.
So before I let you go, I really appreciate your time, Scott. I've only been, I started this designated report behind the lens page like at the beginning of the year. I think right around the national championship game, or right. But it's something I had spitballed with my partner for a while. And I think really since the inception of this particular page, I've been following you since then. I'm not even sure how I stumbled upon your page or anything like that. But again, you have a certain style that I see. And I think even without talking to you prior to this, I could tell that there was more than just photos. There was something more to that. And then after talking to you, I can definitely see that, even there's more to it. There's more to what you're doing and what your intent is. So I really do appreciate the time, man. Just have one last question for you. A question that I didn't send to you. Do you have a favorite Ducks football jersey? Because everybody knows the Oregon Ducks have the greatest jerseys in all of college sports. Do you have a favorite?
That's a fact. I have a few. We have so many, so it's hard to.
A lot.
Yeah. So I was actually thinking about this recently. It was kind of going through the Oregon social media pages, was like voting on this jersey or that jersey, and so it's been on my mind. I really like we wore some pink uniforms a couple times for breast cancer awareness, and that was super cool. And then I also really like the throwback uniforms that we wore to honor the 1994 Rose Bowl team. Those are just classic. You can't go wrong with that. And then I think the one uniform that stands out in my mind, which it received a lot of hate. We wore them in the Civil War against Oregon State. In like 2015 or 16 or something, but they're all gray and silver, but the uniform has like a topographical map design on it, which is super subtle. You can't see it on TV. You can only see it if it's like up close. But as a geography nerd, being obsessed with maps, you put a map on a football jersey, that's gonna be my favorite. It's just a no-brainer. But yeah. That one's probably my favorite just for that reason.
I'm gonna have to.
I've mixed it.
I don't think I've.
I'll send you a picture.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, man. Anything you want to let the people know? I'll definitely tag your Instagram and the whole nine, but I'll give you the last word if you have anything.
Well, I mean, I can do the typical. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Twitter.
I mean,
it's Scott Boldt photo. It'll be tagged, I'm sure. I feel like I would be remiss without plugging the brand that I am a part of. It's called Women Ball 2.
Okay.
We're working for equality or gender equality, and we've chosen to use sports as a platform to work towards that. So our name is Women Ball 2, and our slogan and whatnot, but it's more than that. It's all aspects of life. You can be a baller in whatever aspect you want to be it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Whatever you're doing, be a baller. But yeah, just follow them too. It's just at Women Ball 2. They're on Instagram.
I'll tag everybody.
I'm wearing their hoodie right now.
Oh, yeah, one of those.
Yeah. But yeah.
That's awesome. All right, man. Again, Scott Boldt, I appreciate it. Taking some time out during quarantine. Are things starting to open back up out there?
Slightly.
Yeah.
It's slow, but yeah.
Out here, I'm in Connecticut, so we just started opening things up last week, but same thing, slow. So.
Yeah, I don't really know what it's like out there. I'm like, even if it's open, I'm not going to go out. I just know that as soon as stuff opens up, everyone's going to be out there. And I'm like, well, that's a recipe for disaster. So exactly. I'm going to stay inside a little bit longer, Yeah. I'll come out in a month. I'll see.
I agree. All right, man. I appreciate it. I'm sure we'll be in touch.
Yeah.
And again, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. This was fun.
Absolutely.
I'm glad I was able to talk to you and share a little bit.
Appreciate it. We'll talk soon, Scott.
All right.
Bye.